When the lights go up and the whistle blows, she's the calm in the storm, the one who knows. Behind every game, every call, every play, there's a wife holding it down every day. Welcome to Whistles and Wives, the MVPs behind the whistle.
All right. Welcome to Whistles and Wives. I'm your host, Sheika Espy, and today we have with us Mrs. Gabby Farrah. See, in there I go. I messed it up. just that easy. Mrs. Gabby Farrah. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you. So first, I'm sorry that I butchered your last name, but please tell me where you're located, what school you're associated with right now, your husband and his title, and then how long you've been married.
Yeah, so we're currently in Orlando at the University of Central Florida, UCF. My husband is Alex Farrah. He's better known as Coach Bear to most people. But we came in, we're in a little bit of a unique situation right now. We got here earlier this year, and he came in as a quality control working with the offensive line. We unfortunately had our offensive line coach pass away midseason. And it's been a very difficult situation for us because he was not only someone that my husband worked with every day, but he has been a mentor and a good friend of ours for about the last 10 years. So it's been a really tough situation, but with that, my husband's role has shifted a little bit. I think right now, his technical title is co-offensive line coach. They brought in another coach to kind of help out with the offensive line as well. So there's two of them working with him, but a little bit of a unique situation there with kind of what our title actually is and what we're doing. But, you know, we just learn and grow from it. But we've been married now for 4 years, but we've been together for 10 years. So.
Wow. Hey, that is quite a mouthful. First, condolences. I mean, in one of our episodes, we talked about grief during the football season. So of itself is a lot to handle. And then to have someone on staff, especially that you have a close relationship with, must have been tremendously hard.
It's been very hard on the staff and the players, but I also think that it's kind of made everyone come together. So it's been kind of cool to see how they've all worked through it together and continue to work through it.
Well, I'd like to start off with an icebreaker question that I ask all of my guests. So if someone saw you on game day, what's one thing they wouldn't know about you just by looking at you?
Mm-hmm. I truly don't know.
Do you have like a hidden talent?
One of the things, so I was a dancer growing up. And that's kind of I wouldn't really say it's a hidden talent, but it's not anything that people really see. So that's kind of a side of me that is kind of in the background. I'm really into dance and cheer and all of that. So that's one of my favorite things on game days, watching the spirit teams and everything that they do. So
that's awesome. I was a cheerleader in high school, but in California, so we had like either the dancers or we had the cheerleaders. But I know mainly transitioning to some of the college teams, I see more of dancers. Like that's not the type of cheerleading that I did, but I do like to check out the cheerleaders and judge their performances in my head. But I won't go there. I do miss it. It was a huge part of my life all growing up.
Yeah, I did competitive both cheer and dance. So yeah.
Yes, and it's serious. Mm-hmm. It is. I would fight with my brother. My brother was a football player, and he would always talk about how cheering wasn't a sport, but it absolutely is.
It definitely is.
We'll debate that. Yes. Okay, Gabby. So today we're going to be talking about, what it's like when you have to go through a coaching change or getting fired. And it's a difficult subject or sensitive subject oftentimes. So I want to just preface it that it's a reality that this profession has. And I thought it would be good that we got a chance to hear, the wife's perspective as to what that feels like, how it feels, supporting their husbands throughout it. So first question for you is, can you share the story of the moment that you and your husband found out that either he had been fired or the head coach had been fired?
Yeah, so we've actually been through both situations. I feel like a coach getting fired is a little bit more like when it's your own husband. That's a situation that I feel like more people have probably been through. But having a head coach fired mid-season, that was one that when we went through it, it was kind of a new experience and not one that we truly had anticipated at that time. When my husband first told me that our head coach was let go mid-season, I wasn't in town at the time. I had just found out that my dad was diagnosed with terminal cancer. So I had actually gone back home for a little bit to kind of spend some time with him. And so my head coach or my husband just sent me a text message and was like, hey, our head coach was just let go. And I think for me, I wasn't really surprised that they had let him go because we knew that that season was kind of a transitional season. They had to go out there, win some games to retain their jobs. But I think having it happen mid-season was a little bit more of a shock to us because that's something, I mean, we've seen it a lot more recently, head coaches being let go mid-season, but it wasn't really something that you saw that often. So I just hit this immediate panic button because we had also just found out that we were expecting our first child. And so, in that moment, it's automatically like, we don't know if we're going to have a job at the end of the season. We don't know, what life is going to look like. Where are we having our baby? Who knows? So I think it was just that immediate panic of where do we go from here? Because we still have a football season to get through before, we even do anything. So it's kind of this long process, unknown situations. So yeah, it was just panic.
You just mentioned 3 big life-changing situations. Your dad is sick. Your husband's career is now, I guess in jeopardy, it's fair to say. And now you're expecting. Well, tell me, I mean, out of those 3 things, it's like wham. But tell me what sticks out for you the most? Was there a particular situation that carried more weight dealing with those different things?
I think at that time, it was probably more of the fact that we're expecting our first child. And now here we are. We don't know what's coming next. We had been fired before. We've been through that. It's going to work out. We're going to find another job at some point. But I think now having that added pressure of before it was just me and my husband, we can make things work. We'll do whatever we have to do. But now having that added, now having a baby, it's like that just adds a lot more weight and pressure to you because that's, another human that you're now having to care for and figure out how are we going to make this work? That was, really hard. And just having that like unknown of what's next, which, I feel like we go through a lot in this profession, but at this point, like that kind of hit a little bit harder than it typically does. So
you mentioned just knowing that you were going to be okay. Where did that reassurance come from? Is that just a part of your personality or has this sort of developed being a coach's wife?
I think part of it is just kind of our faith, just knowing things are going to work out. We're going to be placed where we're supposed to be. But then another part of it, I think it's just part of being in this profession. People are losing jobs. People are moving every day. And we're going to find something. It may not be ideal or exactly what we want, but we'll land where we're supposed to be and end up where we're supposed to be. So
that I know that's been a difficult space for me to kind of hold and just having that knowing that things are going to work out because I just panic and I get frantic and what do I need to do? And I got to figure it out. But ultimately, it all comes back to faith is what I hear is sort of the constant in those situations. How do the friendships or relationships with the coaching staff change when you have to make that transition, either when you leave a program or speaking to when the head coach got fired mid-season? Like, do those relationships with the wives or do those continue? Do they shift a little bit?
Yeah, so I'll kind of touch on a little bit of both. So when you get fired from a program, I feel like you find out really quick who actually cared for you on staff. Everyone will typically send you that, hey, so sorry text, let us know if we can do anything. But then there are those who truly care about you and they're hey, let us know if we can come over. Let us know if we can help you pack. Let us know if we can take the kids so you can take care of things at home. So I found that, you're not going to be great friends with every wife on every staff that you're ever on. That's just not going to happen. But you do learn. No, it's not. But you kind of learn who your people are on staff and who truly is there for you even through those times. But whenever our head coach was fired, I found that truly brought us all together because it wasn't just you being in that situation of like your husband was fired, now you're gone. When our head coach was let go, we were all now in this situation of unknown. and what's coming next. And so I think just kind of knowing we're all in the same boat, we're all navigating the same situation, we kind of leaned on each other more to really get through that. And at the time, our dynamics were a little bit different. I was probably one of the youngest ones on staff. Everyone else had older kids that were out of the house. They were just kind of in a different stage of life. So to them, their thoughts were probably going more to, hey, maybe this is like the time that we decide to retire, or we kind of take a step back in our career and, decide what we want to do. But for us, we're still kind of at the beginning of our career and now have a baby on the way. So we couldn't relate in that sense of where do we go next. But I think just knowing that we're all in this moment of not knowing what's about to happen, we really bonded and we're together a lot more. And it really just brought us a lot closer. So
that's really special. Time and time again, I hear about the community or that football family kind of stepping in those difficult times and being there for one another, which I find truly special.
And we still, to this day, still have connections with those people. They'll reach out to us whenever we do go through something in life. Like we announce, our son was born, or when we moved down here to Orlando, they're the people that reach out. And they're like, hey, we're so happy for you. Like, I'd love to just talk to you for a little bit and reconnect. So, it really is special, some of those bonds that you create.
Oh, that's so special. So you mentioned, you touched on faith, you touched on community. What other support systems play a role in this difficult time when your husband let go?
I think we have been very lucky in the sense of my family truly understands this lifestyle. And so they're always extremely supportive, everything that we go through. And so I think having them to lean on, being able to talk to them about situations, and they get it. There are a lot of people who don't understand this lifestyle. They don't understand everything that goes into it. So just having people that truly understand, that I know I can lean on, that I'm close with, has really been a blessing. Because it's just, that dynamic itself makes this profession a lot easier when the people that are close to you get it and they aren't asking you the questions of, well, why can't you come to this holiday? Why aren't you going to be on this vacation? Why can't you do this? So just having that family support has been really important for us.
How do they know? Like my family, my husband is the first coach that we've had in the family. Been involved in sports just because we're, I guess, sports people, but most of the time they don't get it. So do you come from a line of coaches already and that's why they understand?
So I don't come from a line of coaches as far as like football goes, but my dad, he played semi-professional when he was younger. He was a referee for college athletics or college like football. He was our middle school athletic director. He coached in high school, or he coached high school sports. So I think just kind of him being on that side of things, he understood a little bit of this lifestyle. And so, he was the one that was always very supportive. And I think he kind of taught my mom, like, hey, these are the things we're going to go through. This is kind of the way that it goes. But yeah, he kind of came from a different side of coaching and sports, but he was in it.
That's awesome. I think that definitely does make a difference when you can have conversations with family and you have like a baseline knowledge of, yeah, he's at work. What do you want me to do? So how do you support your spouse as he has to navigate, what his next career move is?
I think for us in particular, I am the type of person that gets very emotional over everything. I take everything extremely personally. When we have been let go, as we all think, my husband's the best coach there is. So why are they letting him go? He's clearly not the problem. Like, that's just how I start to think, because I'm like, I take it as a personal attack. Like, he's not good. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's business. It's, you may just not be the right fit at the time. Who knows what the deal is? But I think for me, it's not letting my feelings translate onto him, because, they already have a lot going on in their head. They're already dealing with a lot. So how am I supportive of him, but still allowing myself to like have my moment to do what I need to do and have my feelings, but not just complaining to him all the time, because that's only going to make the situation for him worse. Because in those moments, they already feel like they're a burden on you. So I think just, being supportive, but still being able to step back and kind of take my moment to breathe and get through the feelings that I need to have without bringing him down with me. So yes,
you're better than me. Because
I'm not saying I'm great at it.
Yes, the emotions, and I get very, very protective over my husband, and I don't like this person now, or, that's what I feel in the moment until I'm able to, okay, calm down. And, ultimately this being a part of God's plan, but it is very difficult to not take personally and not to get, super overprotective. And then, having a space where you can share that and not just, I guess, bring your husband in on it, because that's not what they need in that moment.
And it's been very hard for me to learn, because I'm always I want to tell him everything that's going through my head, everything that's going on. And in those moments, I'm like, that's not what he needs right now. He's okay with me talking to him about it because he wants to know where my head is. But it gets to a point that it's like, all right, this isn't productive at this point. He knows where I'm at. I just need to stop, giving that to him and kind of take a step back and bring some positivity to it. So,
yes. What advice do you have for other wives that may be facing this or going through a similar situation?
I think the biggest thing, and just in 2 words, is be supportive. We know how upset we get in these situations, but just take a step back and be like, what's going through your husband's head at this moment? Because I can guarantee it's probably worse than what's going through your head. If I'm down and negative about the whole situation, he's just going to be brought down even more. So it's really just kind of being that stability in his life at that moment, and just kind of helping as we navigate through this time, just really leaning on each other. And then, I try to find other people to talk to about the situation, whether that's family, friends, other wives that may understand where you're coming from. But instead of just constantly, throwing it to him, hey, who else can I find to talk to that's going to understand and they're going to, relate, let me get it out without having to kind of bring him into it. Because I think it's just, we need to be really mindful of kind of what we're adding to their plate, mindful of what we're saying to them in the moment. Not that they don't want to hear what we, have to say or our thoughts on it, but just being mindful of, through everything that they're going through, what are we telling them so that we're not making them feel worse about the situation, but being supportive to them, letting them know, hey, we're here through it. We're going to get through this. It's all going to work out, but just not constantly having a negative light toward them as they're kind of going through this, let's find a new job. Where are we going from here? So I think really just being mindful of the conversations that we're having in those moments.
Got it. Now, I have a follow-up question to some of these. When you were let go, does he automatically get on, I guess, reaching out to his network and trying to figure out what the next opportunity is? I don't recall when he was let go, if it happened during mid-season or if it was after, but can you speak to that? Like, what do those next steps look like?
Yeah, so we've been let go 2 times after the season was over. And then we've had the one time when our head coach got let go that we still retained our job through the season. When we were fired, it was pretty much an immediate one of the situations. We kind of felt it was coming. So he had already kind of been on the phone with some people and we're like, hey, if you know of anything, just keep me in mind. But, he just started sending out resumes to places that he knew had jobs coming available. He would also do it to places that didn't have jobs listed, because he's like, in this profession, by the time a job's listed, it's typically pretty much already filled. So, he would just kind of send it out to places that he felt may have something coming open. But then when our head coach was let go mid-season, we were really in a unique role. They're going to bring a new head coach in, obviously. There's a chance we could get retained, but you just never know. The head coach may come in and have his own people that he wants to bring with him. So that one was a little bit more difficult to navigate. And, we always had in the back of our mind, okay, there's a chance that we're still here. But now that we have a baby on the way, we almost have to be a little bit more proactive, because we have to take care of our family first. And if we sit here and wait to see if we're being retained, it may be, January before they bring someone in. And at that point, you're kind of at the end of that hiring cycle for the year, and it gets harder to find a job. So, once we kind of got closer to the end of the season, he had his close friends obviously kind of knew the situation and would kind of keep an eye out if anything was to come open. But as we got closer to that end of the season and December timeframe, he started to really make outreaches and try to see where he could, find some people that may know about some openings. So.
All right. So I have my last question for you, quick fire question. So what is your current game day MVP? What's that one thing that comes with you to every game, or that you absolutely need to have?
My son. No. This year, honestly, a rain jacket, because I think we have had one home game, which was yesterday, that has not rained.
Uh-huh.
So a rain jacket.
You're sitting in the stands?
There's only been one game that I've sat in the stands in the rain. It typically is like before the game or we'll hit like a rain delay. We've only had one that like it really started to downpour. One of the games, it started like right before halftime. So it was really like the second half of the game got delayed. So I just hung out in the offices until it all like cleared up and we were good to go. But yeah, it comes out of nowhere. It could be sunny and great and then all of a sudden just downpour. So rain jacket.
That's a good one. And I say I'm not going to sit out in the rain, but I remember when my husband was coaching JUCO here in California, there was a playoff game that they had, and I call myself being prepared. I had like this huge umbrella. I had my warmers. I had a tent. They wouldn't let me bring it into the stadium, but I was like, I need to see this game. This is a playoff game and I don't want to be cold or wet. So let me do what I can.
Well, for us now, I think it really comes back to the fact that my son doesn't see our husband a ton, or my husband during the week. So after game day or like after the game is when he truly gets to see him. So for me, I'm like, well, we have to wait until the game's over because he's so excited to go down to the field and see dad. And like, I can't take that away from him. So like, we'll tough it out.
Oh man. Okay. Yeah, this upcoming game, Saturday, it's supposed to rain. I've been looking at the weather and I'm messaging the other wives like, can we watch there's like a little clubhouse that they have. I'm like, yeah, because I'm from California, so I don't know the extremes of weather. Like if it's not perfect, then I'm not in a good.
Yeah, we were lucky where we were last year. There was like a little covering up above our seats. If it was raining, we just kind of go stand up there and be out of the weather. And they have some little areas that you can kind of duck into here. But yeah, this has been a different, like every game day has been rainy and it's not fun.
I want to just say thank you so much for joining. Thank you for allowing me to interview you and being a part of the Whistles and Wives community. Is there anything else you would like to add or say?
No, I don't think I have anything else, but thank you for having me.
And that's a wrap on today's episode. Thank you for joining us. If this episode of Whistles and Wives spoke to you or you enjoyed it, please subscribe, write a review, like, comment, or share with a friend. We'll see you on the next episode. Bye.